right, it's Political Perspective with Reggie, aka Speed and Bullet, and my man B3 exclamation points. Always remember, if you are not political, then you do not have a perspective.
Question for you before you
Yes.
begin. And I assume you may touch on this a little bit, like B said, with the election week. I going on Twitter, I saw that after Mamdani won the New York mayoral race, right? I was very shocked at the backlash, the memes, the jokes, the cynicism about him becoming the New York mayor. Am I just like under a rock or something not to assume that this would be what it was?
So I mean, and I actually had that number one, which was
Okay.
the race in New York,
We here.
and just the overall feeling after the election is that the Democratic Party has had a resurgence, and normally it takes about 2 years during the midterm for it to be really a showing of the country on whether or not they support the current administration. So you normally don't get this type of pushback after only a year in. So I mean, it does look like it was, to some degree a blue wave, but also, it is a response to Trump, the administration, and a lot of really what's going on in the world, what's going on in the country, and a lot of the uncertainties. But James alluded to Zohran Mamdani winning the mayoral race in New York, which it's normally a race between Democrats. There's normally not too many Republicans that come out of New York. The last one was Rudy Giuliani, and that was 25 years ago. So New York City is normally a blue city. However, the biggest kind of difference is the candidate Mamdani, the new mayor. And James alluded just to a lot of the racism, the Islamophobia that you see as a result of him winning. And I think it's just more just of an indication and an acknowledgement of the type of country that we really have.
Yes.
For them to not only attack his policy, right? His policy should be it should be critiqued, it should be challenged if you have a different opinion. But to attack him for his faith, to attack him because he's Muslim, to attack him because he is not a diehard, staunch supporter of Israel, and to paint him out as being anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, is really where the country is. And I think us as Black people, a lot of us have gotten so immune to it that we just go about our business knowing that's the world that we live in. So when we see the Republican chats and texts calling us watermelon people and stuff like that, we already know that those type of conversations happen behind closed doors all the time about us. But what's interesting is this is public. This is on social media, and this is even his opponent, Andrew Cuomo, was he was right along with the anti-Muslim rhetoric. He was right with it, and there was he was on a podcast, and someone made a statement that if Mamdani wins the mayoral race, that is going to be another 9/11, and stuff like that is just ridiculous.
To that point, real quick, to that point, I did see a post from someone, some blue check. I think she was some politician somewhere. She said that Mamdani winning signify is like New York pissed on all the graves of the 9/11 of all the people that died during 9/11. And it's like, what? How was that the conclusion?
Yeah, and anybody that traffics in that type of hate, and that's really all it is. I mean, the man, 9/11 was perpetrated, if you believe, everybody that was involved was from Saudi Arabia, which ironically is one of our Middle Eastern allies.
Yeah.
He grew up in Uganda, and he's been living in New York since he was a kid. I think since 7. I mean, he is as New York as you can possibly really be. And New York traditionally is a melting pot of cultures anyway. New York is not like Nebraska. You got people from all over, that come to New York, and all of the 5 boroughs have a different flavor. So, I mean, I would expect someone like Mamdani to have a great chance of winning over the citizens and the voters in New York. But yeah, I mean, you even see politicians, they'll call them communists, which is another way of making him appear to be other, because, historically, when we talk about communists, we're talking about people who are just vastly different than us and a threat to our way of life. He's not a communist. He's a socialist, and there's a distinct difference. And anyone that's in politics understands that there's a big difference between being a socialist and being a communist. And the biggest difference is that if you're a communist, then your end goal is to destroy the entire system, and it to be no system at all. A socialist just means that there is some partnership and cooperation with the private sector and the worker, and that government's role is making sure that there isn't exploitation across the board. I mean, that's the easiest way to describe it. And I was talking to someone earlier, and I said, well, they call Martin Luther King a communist, and anybody that fights for a decent wage, a decent quality of life, those who traffic in capitalism, but more so, I would say more so crony capitalism, where my millionaire friend is going to get tax breaks, and it's a small circle of people who are benefiting from the larger society. But I mean, I wish him luck, but it is horrible that he has to go into his tenure as mayor just with that type of negativity and these types of things that are being said about him. Are just totally horrible. But
what are real quick, last, what are the billionaires in New York so afraid of with Mamdani?
I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to the question we asked earlier. Like, if you're a billionaire, that money is most likely not going anywhere, and it's not even like you're a millionaire. We're talking about a billionaire, so if and I think one of his biggest initiatives is to raise the taxes on anyone that's making, I think over 100 million, to raise their taxes by 2%.
2%.
So we're not talking about a king's ransom. We're talking about, if you're making billions, 2% is a small tax increase to be able to continue to make your billions. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
to be able to give kids free lunch. Like, what are we talking about?
What are we really talking about?
Anyway, you can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. But just some some additional races that were won. Democrats won in New Jersey. Mikey Sherrill, she won. Was Mikey Sherrill. She was the first Democratic female governor in the history of Jersey. First thing I thought about was Christy Whitman. Was that her name back in the 80s or the 90s?
Yes, Christine Whitman.
She was Republican, but she was the first. She was the first woman governor to be elected in New Jersey. So that's a great thing for the Democrats. And then also in Virginia, which was a very interesting kind of race. You had Abigail Spanberger winning the Virginia governorship. She went against a Black woman.
That was interesting to see.
That was very, very interesting. The way I describe her is like the female Herschel Walker. She's like totally inept.
As Dave Chappelle said, observably stupid.
Yeah, observably stupid. There's a clip out there where she's disputing how you would be able to have to have solar and wind power when the sun goes down or the wind stops blowing. Like it's ridiculous. But great for the people of Virginia to actually put somebody in, in the governorship that actually has a brain and knows what they're doing. The biggest kind of race didn't involve any candidates, and it was the ballot measure Proposition 50 in California. And it's very, very, very interesting. California, they create a special election. One question: do you support changing the law in California to give California the ability to redraw its districts, for the 2026 midterms? And it won by over 65% of the vote. Now, why that's important is because redistricting is a kind of a cheat code to be able to get additional seats in the House of Representatives. And normally the seats are normally kind of carved out of your state. They're normally carved out this particular district, and it's normally carved out during the census. So you normally have 10 years of these are the seats that we have. And then the census, normally you're going to get population increase, you may get population movement, and then they'll have an opportunity to do redistricting where they'll carve out, the different representative areas. But Texas decided that they were going to do redistricting, not consistent with the 10-year census, but they're going to do it this year in an effort to get more Republican seats and to presumably win the House of Representatives. The reason why they would do something like that is because obviously they know that their message is not popular. Their governing is not popular. So rather than try to win people with policy, we'll just create these additional seats to give us more opportunity. And obviously these additional seats are going to be made in areas that are traditionally Republican. So it's a way to be able to finagle the system. And California, being a state that's larger than Texas, decided that they would respond to Texas doing their redistricting by not just deciding to do it, but by putting it in the hands of the people. Like it's just something that the people want to do. And the people overwhelmingly spoke and said that there was something that they wanted to do to give them the opportunity and the ability to create some additional House of Representatives seats. So we'll have to keep track of that because it may turn into a bit of an arms race where other states do redistricting to gain more seats. I know they're talking about Florida. They're talking about Missouri. They're talking about, obviously whatever red state that they can squeeze a few more seats, that they're all in play. So it's something to just keep in mind, that a lot of these votes and a lot of these ballot measures are things that matter, and this election cycle is probably the election cycle that gets the least amount of participation. We all know that the president gets the most. And then you have the midterm where you're going to see, representatives, you're going to see senators, you're going to see all kinds of folks. And then you have this in between. And it's more, you're going to get a lot of local races. You're going to get a lot of governor's races. In Philadelphia, we had our district attorney race. That was kind of like the big one, and also the ballot measure for the judges, which did pass, that allowed the judges to maintain their judge term for until the end of their 10-year term. So as you can see that Republicans in California, even in Pennsylvania, trying to kind of change the rules in the middle of the game. If these judges were voted in for 10 years, we shouldn't be 2 years into it or 4 years into it saying they should have to rerun for their offices. That's changing the rules in the middle of the game.
quick question or a couple questions. I got a bunch of questions about a bunch of things. But we can't go till 12 midnight. With the results of this week being what they were, what do you think that means for the midterms next year, if anything?
So I think it is an indication that the country is paying attention. And I think it's an indication that the same kind of complaints that the country had during Biden's time, that they have the same complaints about Trump. The economy is still what it is. Prices are still high. They're not going down like Trump promised. But it also is showing that people are not really feeling the tactics of this administration, and people are coming out in record numbers. Was a record number of people that voted in New York. It had the highest turnout since the 60s. Record number of people coming out in California.
Mamdani got over 1 million votes.
Over 1 million votes. So I think it is an indication that if things don't turn around, for this administration, that the people are going to vote them out. And I think it gives me some hope that our country has regained a little bit of its sanity. And even if we haven't regained our sanity, I think that those who have maybe been on the sideline have maybe gotten a little bit more involved and have gotten a look and kind of see that, things like SNAP, things like your job, like, when you think about the federal workers that have not been getting paid, you think about, I'm sure none of them thought that they would not be getting paid because of the government. Like, you lose your job, it's maybe because, you were maybe a bad employee, or maybe there was some type of some type of downsizing or something, but you're not getting paid because the government can't get its act together. So those are things that affect everyone. And in this kind of political cycle that we're in, I don't even know how you can ignore it. Like, I mean, and if you are any of the 42 million people that receive SNAP benefits, how can you ignore just politics in general? Because you see that it affects you. It absolutely affects you. So you should. I mean, it would make sense to actually know what's going on, especially with the things that affect you. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see, like, really how long the government shutdown continues. Today is day number 37.
37.
And day number 37. We've exceeded Trump's first term record of the government.
30. What was it? 35 or 34?
I think it was 34.
Okay.
Of the government being shut down. We've exceeded that. So now we don't really know how this is going to end. I will say this: I got my open enrollment yesterday, and I have not hit the button yet. Like, I'm afraid. Like, I'm afraid to hit the button. I'm gonna have to, obviously, but I'm afraid to hit the button to see what is in store. And see what those changes is gonna be. But I know that there are a lot of people who have open enrollment like somewhere around June. So those are the people that are really going to be affected by this if there is no type of agreement with these subsidies.
What up? It's your boy James, aka Ralph's favorite. Now I know you're thinking to yourself, James, why am I not watching the video? Chill. We're gonna get to the video, but before we do that, I want to say on behalf of TBD, we appreciate you for taking the time out to watch this video. And we appreciate you for listening to the podcast. More importantly, we just appreciate you taking the time to be with us, because you could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with us today. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to first like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not, and then hit that notification bell. So that way you're notified when we drop a new video. And remember, it's all TBD. Now let's go ahead and get back to that video.
But yeah, I mean, I got a couple more.
Keep going.
B, I just got SNAP benefits.
Yes, that's where I was
As
going
everyone
next.
knows, SNAP has been delayed, but it looks
Yes.
like some benefits will be paid. There was one report that they were only going to release 50% of the benefits, but it looks like they're going to be releasing somewhere upwards to like 85% of the benefits. The only question is when, and like that's the
So
only like question.
and I saw this right before we started recording, so I wasn't sure if you saw it, but I did see that a federal judge ruled that by this Friday, Trump must release full SNAP benefits by this Friday, which is tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow.
Right. Which is
Now,
November 7th for those of you who will be catching this on the podcast.
yes. So we'll definitely be monitoring that. I
Yeah.
will say this. Trump hasn't obeyed a lot of court orders. And
Wanton disregard is how I would describe it.
right. So, and I even think that there's a way that Trump can just delay this. Because he's already hinted at not really having the infrastructure to do this. And the judge was like, make it happen. So
Yeah.
I could see a world where they kind of use not having the ability to do it. Like, not saying that we can't, like, but saying that we are working on a way to get this done. And yeah, I would be shocked, but stranger things have happened. But I would be shocked. But that's still, even if Trump does release the SNAP benefits, that doesn't really do anything for the government being shut down.
Right.
It doesn't do anything. They're still not talking. The House hasn't been in session for a month now, and the Senate keeps voting, and it's gonna. It looks like it's gonna continue to be the same vote until somebody blinks. So I don't know, and I think that there's a lot of conversation about have the Democrats made their point? Have they made their point, and is it time to just to give in?
No.
And I don't believe so. I mean,
No.
I believe that this is a righteous fight. I don't believe that they're fighting for something that is inconsequential. Like, this is something that is very, very important. And you can't just give in. But I think with that, I don't know how long the government is going to be closed. But hopefully the Democrats have the resolve. I think that even with people still voting, I think that shows that people, even while the government is shut down, people is like, my voice has to be heard. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think people are down for the fight, and we'll just have to see how which side holds on the longest. But once it start getting Thanksgiving, mid-December, I mean,
scary time.
yeah, definitely scary time.
I do want to add on to something you were saying. I watched an interview on the Breakfast Club. Charlemagne, well, not just Charlemagne, but the Breakfast Club did an interview with Mehdi Hassan, and we're talking largely about Mamdani's win, that show, and being based in New York. And they alluded to the government shutdown, and Charlemagne was making the point of the Democrats just got to go ahead and reopen the government, basically concede to what the Republicans want, just to open the government so you can say, basically his point was, so you can say, hey, everything that's happening is a result of what they're doing. And Mehdi Hassan was like, no, you can't just give in to a spoiled child who demands their way, basically was the analogy he used. I thought that was dangerous messaging. Like, no, you can't just, I agree with Mehdi Hassan. Like, you can't just agree to what they want to reopen the government, and their tactics of every time they get in front of a microphone, it's, oh, the Democrats keeping the government. The Democrats are, I think the country has shown they're a little more savvy than to just accept that messaging. And I'm a person who has family members working for the government. I have family members who decided, I got to work for Instacart during this government shutdown time because I got to make money. That's where it is, if people don't know. Um, yeah, and it's easy for me to say not being in the position of someone who not getting a check from the government, but yeah, I don't agree with just giving in to what they want
Yeah, and
or
I think
sacrificing
Charlemagne.
more.
Yeah, I think Charlemagne. If you squint your eyes, is Stephen A. Smith. I
They're
mean,
the same.
yeah, I think that. Oh, go ahead, B.
Real quick, Stephen A. Smith to me is a little worse because he's still going. Like there was a video came out today where he was still going on about Mamdani, and how he wasn't happy about a bunch of things, but whatever. Charlemagne, he was during the presidential election, uh, came across as it won't be so bad as Trump, and now he's trying to walk it back like it's not video of him showing basically support for Trump is what I would classify. It was support for Trump in my opinion.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
yeah. No, like I said, if you squint your eyes, Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith just in more of a, I would say more of a tolerable person. I
Yeah,
think people feel like Stephen A. Smith is just a unserious person when it comes to politics. Or he's just he's just a Republican, and I'm not even gonna call him a conservative. I'm just calling him a Republican.
yeah,
Because you can be a Democrat and be conservative.
yeah,
But I think that the message of giving in, I don't think that's going to sit well with the people. I mean, in my opinion, if they give in, I think that there's a way that it can be spun to make you look like this was on you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think you
Of
you
one
have, you
thousand
have to,
percent.
and that's what they're going to do that anyway. But I think if they, I think that a win is better than a loss or a tie in this instance. If it's a tie and you say I'm going to give in, that's not as effective as a win. And I'm going to keep saying, like, this, in my opinion, is a righteous fight that they're fighting.
Yeah,
You think of the two things that people are the most concerned about is food insecurity, prices, and healthcare. Having access to quality healthcare, having access to a hospital, a bed, and having the ability to pay for it. Having the ability to pay for it, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars premiums for your health insurance is just ridiculous.
yeah,
It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you may go to the doctor twice a year,
yeah,
barring any major health change. We're talking about preventive stuff depending on your age, but shoot, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for health insurance premiums is ridiculous. So it's a righteous fight, and I feel like they have to continue to fight. Last thing I want to talk about is Trump is in court. Trump is in court all the time. So there's a couple of court cases that are going on right now. One is a federal judge issued an injunction kind of limiting the force that immigration agents can have towards people that they are suspecting that may be undocumented or illegal, as they call everybody that's an immigrant. They call them illegal when they're not illegal. They're undocumented. There's a difference.
just the brown immigrants.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Just because
Yeah,
the brown immigrants are, yeah, I mean,
right. But a judge issued an injunction, giving them very specific rules on how they are supposed to engage with the public when they are attempting to make some kind of arrest. This judge had brought in one of the border. I mean, one of the immigration directors or someone high up in their ranks to give her a daily kind of a briefing on what was happening on the streets in Chicago in terms of immigration, and she found that he was just straight lying. Like she even said in her ruling that she found his description of the conditions on the ground to be untrue, and so she has issued an injunction limiting their ability and the type of force that they can use if they are attempting to apprehend someone in Chicago. So that's an interesting ruling. Once again, I don't have a lot of confidence that will be something that will be followed. But what I think is interesting is whenever you see like these ICE officers like gripping somebody up or this and that, I don't know if you noticed, but they always have their own camera crew with them. So they always have a camera crew with them that is filming. So it's very interesting to me. Like, I don't know if they're gonna be making like some type of ICE documentary or something, but they always have. If you ever look, and there's reports about this, that they have like a camera crew like that films their interactions. However, they have not released footage of these interactions that they're, right. that the footage that we see, the cell phone footage, the Ring camera footage, all of this footage that they've never released any footage to like support, any questions about their behavior, which leads me to think that they absolutely know that, a lot of their tactics are heavy-handed and just not consistent with how immigration has been handled, like in the past. I mean, we've had immigration enforcement since there's been immigration. Famously, Barack Obama deported more people than Trump, than Trump and Biden. So and Biden deported more people than Trump. But there's a method and a reason why it's become so that they've taken such an aggressive and chaotic tactic. I think it's to get the people to be kind of almost immune to these type of tactics, these types of individuals, people in full military gear, running the streets like GI Joes. I think it's to get people just comfortable for when the real thing happens. And that to me is during the next election, when they're going to start seizing voting booths, voting areas, and we're going to see military on the street and people. And if you have 3 years of this, it's not going to feel like anything drastic as if it would be the military's on the street, just for this one event. The military right now is on the streets almost in every big city, and almost every big city are all cities that went Democrat. So I think there's a larger kind of message going on there.
Yeah, real quick. I think there's a huge disconnect in this administration's messaging to what is actually happening. So I saw a video today. It was of an ICE agent, quote unquote, arresting someone out of a daycare. And the messaging has been, okay, we're getting rid of the worst of the worst, the criminals, and this, that, and the third, right? We're getting them out of the country, which no one will disagree to. But if you're arresting someone and it's a video going out of you at not even arresting, but obtaining, abducting, whatever, someone from a daycare, a lot of your base uses immigrants to care for their children. How do you not know this?
So I think ultimately, it was about fear mongering and obtaining power. And I think that we can clearly see that this kind of message that there's all of these illegal criminals running around, because that's a lot. That's a lot of what Trump was saying, that there's these criminals, MS-13, Trinidad
all kinds of
Aragua,
shit.
like all of these folks. But you haven't even heard those phrases in the last couple of months either, right?
B613 from Scandal.
And it was more of just an ability to conjure up fear, create this group that we can use as a boogeyman, that the immigrants are taking over the world. The immigrants are taking over the world. Illegal immigrants. You keep saying that, but now the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is that we're 11 months in, 10 months in. If there was so many of these criminals, you wouldn't be going into daycares, right? You wouldn't be arresting people at Home Depot. You ain't telling me that MS-13 is they moonlighting at Home Depot.
Oh, yeah, real quick. I saw another video. You just remind. I saw another video with a man. He was doing someone's garden. He was out there with the leaf blower, and ICE agents pulled up, but he ran inside the house, and they had to drive off because they couldn't just go in somebody's house. But it's like, no, these are not the worst of the worst people that you're talking about. But continue.
Right. And it never was. It was just rhetoric. It was just spin. It was just creating an environment to get people kind of pissed off. But we see every day that that's not the true environment. So what they'll do now is they will try to just say that they're all here illegally. Yeah. And even when they say things like Biden let in 20 million illegal immigrants, right? It's just untrue. Right. And what that sounds like is 20 million people like snuck in under a fence somewhere, right? But if someone, and this is in the Constitution, if someone comes to a border crossing and they say I am here to seek asylum, it is in the Constitution that we have to investigate and rule on their asylum. Yeah. So they are not here illegally. They are here undocumented. There's a major difference. Illegal is somebody that snuck in here middle of the night.
Quick, please repeat that, because I want the people to understand that.
Yes. So the difference between an undocumented and someone that is quote unquote illegal, I hate even using the term, but quote unquote illegal is that a person that's undocumented has presented themselves at a border crossing. And then if you think about a lot of the video that you might have saw last year or the year before of all of these people kind of like congregating at border crossings, right? Like those people are not illegal. Those people are undocumented. So it's in the United States Constitution that you can go to a border crossing and you can apply for asylum. In order to apply for asylum, you have to come into the country. You cannot apply for asylum outside the country. So you can't be on the Mexican side of the border and say, I want asylum. You have to come into the country. So when they say that Biden let in all of 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, a billion, however number of Trump makes up, they are muddying the conversation, and they are making it appear that these are the same people. Someone's undocumented, they are registered, the government knows where they're at. They are waiting on their asylum claim, and they are going through that process. Someone that is illegal is a person that has either been deported and came back, snuck into the country, did not go through any of that process. So there's a big difference. And what you see is now, and you'll see that where people people are getting arrested at their immigration hearings and their immigration check-ins. You cannot tell me that this person is trying to do something illegal and they're going to their immigration's hearing. Like, what are we talking about? But yeah, I think that people are waking up and understand that a lot of what they were saying just was untrue. Yeah, this was untrue. I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean, like you said, we could keep going. There's so many other things going on.
100,000 things to talk about.
If any of our listeners, want to look up the Supreme Court the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about the tariffs, about the Trump tariffs, and it looks like they possibly are going to make his tariffs illegal. But what do you do? He's been imposing these tariffs the last 9 months. I don't even know how you undo it. He just negotiated a trade agreement with China. Like if anything, it should have, the administration should have stopped what they were doing, kept all tariffs in place until it was decided by the Supreme Court. Oh, absolutely. Always remember, especially in this world that we living in today, if you are not political, you do not have a perspective.
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.